What is up everyone and welcome to the channel. This is GenchoMoto and today we're on the main street of San Andreas. I'm very excited because I'm going to show you this beautiful piece of art, which is a Mercedes E-Class from 2016. Shit. Luckily the car wasn't stolen for real and we got it back, because if we didn't I had to go and jump over a bridge because this cost more than my liver. Anyway, this is a Mercedes 2016 and it's an E-Class. It's called W213 as well, and the production starts in 2016. They go all the way down till nowadays. In 2020 they released the facelift model, which is sort of similar but it has a lot more different things. That car is completely different to the previous E-Class, which was built in 2011 and is the W212. The E-Class is built in many ways, so you've got a sedan, you've got estate, you've got a coupe and you have a cabriolet. They're all named differently. For example, estate is called the T model, but in today's episode we have the sedan. As you can see, the front end is completely different to the previous one. It's got that aggressive AMG line stylish bumper, got intelligent LED lights which are self-adjusting, and only one of them costs around £3,000 if you want to buy it. One thing that I do have to mention straight away for them is during the winter time the heat inside the headlight is big, and when the temperature outside is very cold they fog out, so you don't have a split anywhere, you don't have cracking in the rubber. It's just how it is. You don't have anything to worry about it. If you're going to get one around winter time, it is sort of normal for them, so don't get too paranoid about it. Apart from that, the car doesn't really have too many faults. I mean, it's still a new model. They use them as taxis. Since 2016 when they first come up, they started using them as taxis as well as the previous model. And what taxis are standing for? Reliability. So you're getting a quite nice and good example. I've seen them already on 200k on clock. This one's only 47. It didn't have any major issues as far as I'm aware. With the ones on 200k, they also, with a proper service, they last with no major repairs. Maybe you have some issues with twin turbo, you have some issues with the injectors on the diesel one, but apart from that they don't really cause too many issues. As I said, the other few issues that the car has are mainly in the interior of the car, but nothing really major. As you can see, the aerodynamics are very pretty. The car is literally a piece of an art. As I said in the beginning of the video, I do like every single bit about it. It's completely different to the previous one. Like the previous one was more edgy style, this one is sort of luxurious curvy model. And looking at the taillights, it reminds me something. The difference between the C-Class, E-Class and S-Class are very little. You can easily mistake a C-Class for an E-Class, and the S-Class, yes, they do have difference, but if you see it on pictures you might think of it as a E-Class. The S-Class has bigger headlights, bigger taillights, but the difference between the C-Class and E-Class is that the C-Class is slightly shorter, the E-Class is obviously a bit wider. They come up with normal bumpers which are also fancy, but the AMG line bumpers are just amazing. Stock they come up on 18 and 19 inch alloys. You can get the AMGs even on 20s. We're not gonna speak about E-Class AMG today. This is way out of our range, and if you're looking to get an AMG you probably won't click on our channel anyway, so just skip that. As you can see, big fat brakes. In the front, they're proper vented and drilled. You've got big calipers so you can stop the car. Indicators on the side. It says everywhere with little bits. It's just the details that they're putting into the car. So for example here, Mercedes-Benz. Then you've got it on the headlights. You've got it on the tail lights. Front end is super aggressive. It's curvy, but in the same time it's super aggressive. I like every single bit about this car. Every time I get to drive it, I just feel so excited. It has so many different modes. The car is completely full of extras, and you can get it for dirt cheap, but you can have a massive bag to spend as well, depending on what you need. For example, if you want to look very cool and you want something very luxurious, you don't mind about the mileage, something that's an X-Taxi or something that has got very high motorway miles, like 170, 180, 190, you can probably pick it up for just over 10 grand. Anything with lower mileage like this, for example, is up on the market at the minute for 17.5 grand. They go all the way up to 20, 25, AMGs 50, 60k. I mean, it's ridiculous sort of price range for them, depending on what you want, of course. But if you do want to look badass, this is definitely something that you can look forward to if you got like maybe around 12k to spend on. The engines are reliable, so as I said, if the mileage doesn't bother you, then I would say personally go for it. As you can see, it's got a quite big, nice and spacious boot at the back, so it's perfect for you and your kids when you're traveling to holidays. I have to say, if you want your rear seats to fall down, then this is an optional extra, and you should have 2 levers on each side so you can pull down the seats. This one doesn't. They also come without spare tires, so we have a lot of boot room at the back as well, which is super nice. But in the same time, you do need to have some tire spray in case your tire blows up. Hopefully it doesn't blow up anyway. It's a shame that they don't all come with a button. Usually on the one that's full of extras, you've got a button here. You just press it, the boot locks itself automatically. If not, you have to sort of shut it that way so you don't get dirty and you don't have marks like this from hands putting the boot down. Let's open from bonnet. We're gonna speak a bit about engines, and then we're gonna move to the interior, because to be fair, there's so much to say about this car. As you can see, everything here is aluminium. That's been made so the car doesn't weigh as much. The feeling when you drive the car is actually super nice. This one is a 2-litre diesel. It's called the 220D, because you can get the 2-litre diesel, which is a 200D with engines. Even if I take out my phone, I'll start reading through them. There's literally a whole encyclopedia for engines. You can get anything from a 4-cylinder all the way up to a V8 twin turbo. But in general, the cheaper ones are the 2-litre diesel, 2-litre petrol, 2-litre petrol or the Void. I would go for the 2-litre diesel and the 220D. The 220D has a bit more torque. If you want something that is, I wouldn't say exactly like rocket, but if you want something that's fast, reliable, and you wouldn't bother to go anywhere around the world with it, I'll go for the 3.5 diesel. And the 3.5 diesel is also hybrid, so it's like plug. You've got a mixed motor between electrics and diesels. Then, as I said, the 2-litre petrol or the Void, anything above that, it's okay. Obviously, all the bigger the engine is, the more horsepower it is, the more expensive the car is. That's how it works with Mercedes, that's how it works with BMW, that's how it works with Audis as well. I mean, the bigger the better, but obviously you have to spend a lot more for that. This one here, as I said, it's only 2.2 diesel, but it's got 200 horsepower, nearly 200 horsepower, and it drives absolutely amazing. For me, this personally is enough for town drive, it's enough for motorway. It's got 9-speed G-tronic gearbox, which on the motorway is absolutely brilliant to drive. It has different modes of driving, because it's got a electric suspension, electric steering rack. So if you wish to drive in comfort, obviously the suspension change itself automatically, the engine change itself automatically. You can put it on Sport Plus, then the engine gets extra horsepower and this gets even quicker. It's bloody brilliant. Let's get inside, because to be fair, apart showing you all around the car, there's nothing else that I can talk about. As I said, they're fairly new cars. There's not many common issues about them, but even if it does, if you're buying that sort of car, you're probably gonna go to main dealer or any specialized garage to give it a check. If you don't go and give it a check in a garage, then you might waste your money on a pit back. I highly doubt it, because these are very reliable, but just to make sure, spend the extra few £100 to get the car checked all around, and somebody that knows everything about them is gonna save you a lot of cash. Obviously, if they find any issues, that's always a good reason to bring the price down if you really want the car, because almost everything about this, unfortunately, is expensive. Like just the tires, these alloys are 19-inch, so tires, I would say a good brand is gonna cost you anything between £300 and £400 per tire. I mean, it is dear. Everything on the car is dear. Even the servicing, you need to do it in a specialized garage, because then somebody with a laptop has to tell that the car's been serviced, and they also have a digital service history, so you won't be able to have a look at this. When you're looking at a particular example, you need to phone up Mercedes to ask if that car has service history and obviously what's the records, because everything's on the digital, or the owner usually can go online and show you what it is. If you try to service it yourself, this doesn't go into the digital. So I mean, if you're driving one of these, better maintain it into a proper garage. Anyway, let's get inside, because this is where all the magic happens. We're gonna start with the door card. As soon as you open the door, everything is like super posh. Honestly, look, even the lock pins, they sort of grapply-ish, like super cool. Your buttons for the windows are all fancy. Everything's just quite nice, and it's quality leather as well. You've got speaker here, massive pocket, which you don't need anyway, but jump in. Man, that feels good. So there is a slight downside when you get into that car. If you're quite a big person, it's not going to be comfortable for you. For me, it's absolutely brilliant. But problem for big people are going to be the supports on the seats are massive. This is obviously a good thing, because it's made to keep you in the seat. But if you're sort of big, it's not very comfortable. But for a person like me, who is around 5'8", with 14 stones weight, this is gonna be perfect for you for town drive and motorway. Literally, once you get into the car, it gives you that instant feeling of satisfaction. The steering wheel is super sporty. It's sort of a Formula 1 go-kart-ish. It's not the usual round steering wheel. It's sort of smaller. Everything is super great inside. Like, you've got paddle shifters, so when you're driving a bit sportier. I wouldn't really take this to the racetrack, because as I said already, every single detail on this car is bloody expensive, but for a nice sporty drive, absolutely brilliant. I can get my position of driving instantly, and I can feel comfortable. For a long trip, I will have to adjust it, but that doesn't really worry me, because them seats have 1,000 different positions that you can adjust them into. The seats are quite nice and sport, half leather. You get in full leather. I don't think you get fabric in E-Class nowadays. You've got most of the controls here, and them two little buttons on the steering wheel are actually not just buttons, they're sensitive touchscreen buttons. So with this you can control your main display on the dashboard, which leads me to the next thing. Everything over 2018 with 6-cylinder comes with a massive display here. This one is just 8-inch. I think the other one is about 12, and also your speed cluster, it's a tablet. So that whole area is one massive tablet, which is super cool. Although I do like them. I know we're going into a different era where everything gets digital, you get touch screens and like tablets everywhere, but I do like the fact that they kind of saved this old style Speedo. Speedo's super sporty. It is obviously real, it's not just a tablet, and it just gives me better feeling, better satisfaction. Some people might like the tablet better, but I do think that the digital Speedo is sort of killing the sportness of the car. Of course, this is an E-Class, it's not exactly a sports car, but don't forget that you've got the coupe model, which is brutally sexy, I have to say. Awesome car. And of course we're talking about the family sedan here, but don't forget the fact that they're building coupes and cabrios as well, which are leaning more to sports cars. Anyway, let's turn this media on. It has that cool feature that Vauxhall has it, and they've put it in their Astras and Insignias when they first came in. And this is the Speedo check. So every time you press the start button, oh, it doesn't do it now. Well, how to do it? No, it doesn't. Well, it doesn't do it. What can we say? To be fair, for you to operate this car properly, one manual is not going to be enough, which reminds me, the manual on them is digital too. But you need a proper master degrees in technologies in order to operate this, because it's even the basic model is backed up with extras. As I was saying, they do that cool Speedo check when you first start the car, and I don't know for what reason. Maybe I don't even know how to do it. As I said, I'm not really used to 2016 cars, but you've got the front end of the Mercedes here on this screen, and just before you start it flashes with headlights, which is super fancy. And then up on the screen you've got your automatic gearbox, so you've got that little lever which we all know that Mercedes is moving the automatic shifter from here onto the lever since the S-Class, which is started the production in 2007. Dashboard, mega fancy, mega cool with them vents. It just looks like a jet fighter, to be fair. Them 2 buttons on the car, they look super old school. They're for closing the fence. And here's the difference: in the C-Class you only get 3 of them, where with the E-Class you get 4, and with the S-Class you get 4, which are like super fancy. Got quite nice leather with super nice feel. Quality of the music in this car, absolutely brutal. We have that fancy watch here, and this, I would say, glove box is big as a cave. Literally, you can fit your phone, your keys, cup holders. You have 12-volt socket. You've got a little holder for your keys. It's not like the ASX where we had that little holder which we didn't really knew what is it for, if is it for the keys or not. But it's, you can literally go inside even further. It is massive, but when you close it, it looks super flush. Right, so another issue, that trim here, the piano black one, to be fair, all the trims are scratching very easily. Like, this is 47k on clock, but you can see it already has some wear and tear on it. God knows why. I mean, from Mercedes they could probably put some protection on it, but it is what it is. And why the manual speedo is better than the digital display one: after 2018 they're causing some issues and they start to flicker right in the middle, and then they just turn off. After that, you don't know how quick you're driving, if you're indicating, whatever's working on the dashboard, because everything is on the display. Once your display is not working, then you're kind of and this is something very, very costly to repair. These ones, they don't cause any issues as far as I'm aware. The 220D, super economical, as I said already. I can't even tell you, but roughly it should probably do around 63 to 65 miles a gallon on motorway drive. In town, I haven't checked it yet, but I mean, if you've got 15 grand to spend on a car, you probably don't really care about your consumption anyway. Up the top, we have a black roof. We've got, obviously, as any normal car, LED lights. We've got the SOS button, service call, and as many more extras. As I said, it's so full of extras that I'm even struggling to operate it. The only thing that I can probably operate is seats. They're very easy. Obviously, you've got your normal buttons like on any other Mercedes. Here on the central column, which is sort of leaning down, so it's, say you're driving down on the motorway, you've got your hand here and you're literally just pressing your button. It's sort of more horizontal instead of the old school vertical way. Everything is nice and easy once you get used to it. So dual climate control as standard, and you've got both buttons here on the side, and fan speed, obviously windscreens, rear, front, synchronization, AC, and blah blah blah. Then you've got 3 easy buttons here, so sat nav, radio, media. They come with Bluetooth, all of them, so you can obviously talk hands-free, or you can listen to music from your phone and you don't have to plug any jacks or whatsoever. Telephone, hazard lights, which are here, very nice and flashy button, and menu. So I've tried to press this button, and digitally on the display it tells you where the fans are blowing. I think this is probably the menu for the AC anyway. You've got a quite cool glove box in here, sort of deep-ish. You press that little button and it opens, very, very cool and smooth. Then volume control, and you've got the button for turning on and off the media, start-stop system. This button is brutally cool, and this one as well, I will show you later. This car has the feature to park itself automatically. When you first sit in and you've never been into a car that parked itself automatically, you literally want to shit yourself, because there's a 15 grand car, right? You've got 2 cars in the front and you leave your car by itself to park. It is bloody scary, because if even one scratch, if it does one scratch, then this is your insurance out of the door. Then your car doesn't look as cool as before, but I mean, it does it. You don't have to worry about it. It parks everywhere, and if it doesn't like the way how the car parked the first time, it's gonna reverse by itself and it's gonna park a second time. Then this button here, when you press it, as you can see on the screen, it comes on both screens. So you've got a sport mode, you've got the sport plus. You can hear how the engine changes the RPM as soon as you press it. It stiffens up the suspension, it stiffens up the wheel, it stiffens up the steering wheel, so you know where you are at all time. Then you put the sport in, the engine gets a little bit quieter, the steering wheel is not so stiffer, and starts to ride a bit more comfortable. When you go comfort, the suspension gets super soft, the steering wheel is super easy to turn around, and you also go a eco mode, which once you turn it on, this is perfect for motorways. Car becomes super economical. Right, so let me try to get into the vehicle system, which you operate from that little joystick here. Then we have the vehicle settings here, which we can operate. So speed limit, winter tires, stowaway protection, interior motion sensors, and as extra like the belt adjustment. It's a quite cool feature. So as soon as you put your belt, there we go, it pulls it a little bit, so that way, you know, it knows where your body position originally is. Right, so as we're going down, oh, I don't want to mess up anything, but right, then dynamic select is a cool feature. So here we can just set the configurations, so we can put the engine on sport mode or sport plus or whatever you like. Then we can turn off the traction control from here, and we've got the steering. So steering we can, for example, set to comfort or sport, and then we can leave, oh, so light, and then we can leave the engine on sport. I mean, it varies a lot. It really depends what you want to do with the car. You can adjust it in many different ways, which is what I like about this car. So we have the parking pilot. This is saying obviously light assistance, which, as I said already, they're intelligent dynamic lights. So even if you're driving on high beams, you still wouldn't blindfold the person that's driving opposite you or in front of you. Then we've got the consumption here. I've never been here, but it sort of tells you how much fuel you're going through. Owner's manual, it's already on the car. As I said, it's all digital, so you can just sit and read through it. I do have to say, you do need to sit and read through it, because there are so many extras inside that you won't be able to find out just by yourself, and some of them are very hard to operate. So definitely I recommend reading the owner's manual when you get one of these. Another cool thing is obviously the clock is digital, so if you adjust it from here, it's gonna adjust itself. And let's go to lights, which is another cool thing that I like. It's not important at all, but it's cool. So if we go to ambient lightning, these trims here, you can see they all light up into this sexy blue color. But if you're a woman and if you don't like this color, or if you're a man who fancies different colors, or you've got a favorite color, I mean, it's really up to you, but it has plenty of colors to choose from. So we're just turning the joystick and this becomes green, light green, orange. You can have it in white, so it sort of matches the dashboard. Have it light blue, then we can set it to pink or purple. Purple's quite nice, I have to say. Then we've got the red, which is also very cool. It really depends what sort of mood you are, and you can put it on to anyone, but I think the blue looks the best. Right, so moving that from this, I mean, as you can see, just scrolling down with the joystick, it has so many options. I've already wired my phone so I can try it. Got system settings, media, telephone, vehicle, sat nav. You can just turn the display off. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Also here it tells you everything about the car. So as you can see, there's plenty of options. As long as you read carefully through your owner's manual, you will be able to operate the car properly. You can also do it here from the steering wheel. Look, so this is motion sensor. You can adjust it from here, and then you just tap it and you get straight into it. There we go. But you need to be very gentle with this. As I said, paddle shifters are super nice and comfortable. To be fair, the only thing that's sort of left from them old Mercedes is cruise control stick. Apart from that, everything is changed in E-Class, because this is definitely my new favorite E-Class model. I used to like the W213 a lot. I've owned one for 4 years and I never wanted to sell it. On the end, I sold it because various reasons anyway. But this one is definitely on my heart. It's got electric parking brake. It would not allow you to go, obviously, if your door's open. I mean, the car's probably smarter than you anyway. But all of that being said, we're going to show you some details here around. We're going to move at the back to see how it feels. Right, inside of the car, I like this a lot. You know what I always say about these, but these are fabric bands, so it doesn't get loose. Something very cool that the car comes with. It's got obviously all the paperwork, you don't need to see that, but it comes with a Mercedes key that sits somewhere here. Your certificates, warranties, obviously every one of them should be with 2 keys, of course, because the keys are bloody dear. We do have an ashtray here and a 12-volt socket. I would say do not smoke inside of this. Leather, very nice feeling, very nice stitches. Some of them have digital climate control over here, but that's on like the proper top of the range. And then ambient lighting, very cool, because the whole car is black inside, and if the windows are tinted, I reckon this is gonna look very badass. Space wise, plenty of leg room. Even though my driver's seat is pulled slightly backwards, there's plenty of leg room, there's plenty of headroom, there's even some room to put some stuff at the back. You've got the child control here, quite nice armrest, 2 cup holders which are adjustable. Right, let's put them back. Quite nice pocket with dried mango inside, quite cool. Mentioned already the big pockets. I like at the back. I can definitely go for a long trip in one of these. I definitely like this. This is definitely one of my favorite cars so far. Anyway, with all that being said, let's go for a little drive, because I have no patience to sit and drive this. I'm ready. I'm just enjoying. The seats are brilliant. I like him a lot. We have some weight on the back seat, so it says that we need to... Oh no. Have we got something on the back seats? No. It tells me to unlock a seatbelt. So one thing is the indicators. Sometimes you kind of mess it up which one's which, but when you drive it for a day or so, you get used to it. Super comfortable. We go through a very bumpy road at the minute, but we're on comfort mode and it literally floats like a boat, and in the same time it's stiff. It doesn't have any body roll. You can literally throw it into a corner. You've got good vision, very responsive and very easy to drive. Absolute pleasure. Honestly, I've never ever driven a better car. Right, so I'm going to show you that very cool feature with the parking. Let's see if we can do the job. So we press that button, then we choose yes, and then we engage reverse gear and we let off. See, I'm not pressing any gas. And I'm not pressing anything. I don't even rotate the wheel. Let's see what the car's gonna do. I'm interested to find out. It's a bit scary because the car does it by itself, you know? So the feeling is not exactly great until you don't get used to it. But as you can see, it's pretty tight between them two cars. I think if I open the door, it's gonna stop straight away. But it does check surroundings, as you can see on the camera. You've got motion sensors everywhere. And regardless of how hard it is to park it, it's still gonna park it. These motion sensors are so in order for the car to park in a way where you can be freely opening both of your doors. There we go. And it says now take control of the vehicle. You press the park, and let's go and see how the car did. Look at the gaps right on the parking spot, exactly how you want it to be. Perfect. What world are we living in today? 2016 cars parking by themselves. There you go. And we can also do the camera in a way where we can sort of have a wide angle. So if we have like, there we go, super nice and easy, just press direct mode and off we go. Obviously this car is not something that you should drag around, but you can safely drive it with one hand. Not that you should have, but you can safely do that. This car is more about the feeling to drive such a piece of an art. As you can see, it is responsive even for a 2-liter diesel. It's very responsive. You can barely feel how the gears are shifting. Wind noise, almost no wind noise. You can only hear the tires, the sound from the tires. Very stiff in corners. It sticks to the road very nice. You don't have to worry about getting into a corner. As you can see, we're driving 45 miles an hour. It's smooth. It is so smooth. The steering wheel is stiff, but in the same time you can control it with one hand, giving you the comfort and the feeling of safetiness. So I'm gonna put both of my hands on the steering wheel anyway. But it's brilliant. It's pleasure. No matter how fast you drive it, you don't feel like you're going fast, which is a good and a bad thing. But as long as you're watching at your speedos, you will be fine. Very nice and quiet. You can play some relaxing music, any gangster music, whatever music you like, whatever mood you're into, and then you can just go and hit the road. Headlights, for them I don't even have to comment. They adjust themselves in a way that they don't cause any harm to anyone. Right, phone, pick up. Alo?
Genci,
Da?
Значи като я купуваш, според че ми обясниха, че е премиумия модел, най-хая с лайсник, с всичкото на AMG-то, което е.
Da, sorry guys, we got interrupted from a phone call, but now we're back. Oh, so easy to drive this car. I feel like as long as you have somebody to set the car right for you, because as I already said, it's very complicated, but as long as somebody sets it for you, I feel like even a 4-year-old can drive it. Steering angle of the suspension is massive as well, which is very good because that means you can do U-turns on a very tight roads. Right, let's go to Super Sport, because that's what I've been waiting for. Right, so the car changes itself, and let's kick off at some roundabout on manual gears. It literally sticks to the road. Absolutely brilliant. And it also tells you when you're driving in manual mode, it also tells you every time when to shift, upshift or downshift, which is quite nice. But if you're driving in manual mode, you probably know what you're doing anyway. Brakes, they're very good. Of course they're gonna be good. They're massive. They're almost as big as a satellite dish. Right, so you're gonna kick into second, third, fourth. You can really feel the torque, but then when you look at the speedo, you do realize you're going fast. Right, I'm gonna slow down before we break the speed limit. And then we're gonna go into another roundabout. You know where's the angle of your steering wheel all the time, and you get zero body roll. And also the safety features of this car are brilliant. It's 5 stars almost everywhere. The stability control on this is brutal. I think that even if you try to, there we go, so you let the wheel off, slow down and take off again. I'll go on somewhere where it's forward and there's no car, so that way I don't cause any harm to anyone. But going on a straight road, it adjusts itself straight away. It doesn't really let the car slide. The front wheels are going in the same direction with the rear wheels. It's just brilliant, super sharp. Saying that it's not good for a track car, it well could be. Obviously not a track car, but it's something that you can definitely take out on the track once or twice. I mean, this 2.2 is giving me such a massive pleasure. I imagine what's gonna be like in a 350D or any AMG. It is my dream to have, or at least to have the chance to drive one of them as an AMG. Even the 4.3, the 43 AMG is fast. Then you have the 653 AMG, which is actually a 5.5 liter. To reverse cameras, it tells you the steering angle, so you know where you're going. Direct, and we take off. Now it's on direct, so it changes the gear by itself. All in total, to wrap up this video, I have to say, if you got anything between 10 and 15 or 10 and 20k, definitely do a research on one of them. You're gonna definitely like it. I think it's better than BMW 5 Series from the same year, and I think it's better than Audi from the same year as well. So you wouldn't go wrong with one of these. But again, this is only my opinion. Everyone has a different one. It's no harm if you go and test one of these. So that is it for today's episode. Let's wrap it up quickly. If you like it, please hit the like button, put a comment below, and subscribe for more cool content.
How can you even?
Where can I park?
Stop. Top floor, top floor.
Where?
On the right.
Here.
Yeah.
Oh. Hello. Hiya. Fucking awesome person.